Every single agent that's in the marketplace is going to hear about your offer if you're advertising enough. At least everybody that looks at your company is going to look at the offer as the number one thing that helps them decide whether or not they join you or not. Why do so many real estate team leaders put so little effort into their offer to the marketplace? This is something that I have really battled with in just trying to understand over the last several years, building my real estate team. And the reality is it's a good thing for competition, and it is a massive opportunity point. What I mean by your offer to your agents in the marketplace is literally like, what does your company offer? Now, from an individual agent perspective, on a consumer level, you can look at your offers on all different lanes. And it's something that I think is one of the biggest opportunities for team leaders to look into to grow their business. And I'm saying this from being 5 years into the business, running my real estate team. And this podcast is specifically for real estate team leaders, broker owners, and I'm looking to share my experiences growing my company, Onyx Homes, from start to finish. If you want the closest possible look at us doing this, go to onyxhomes.com/school, and you'll get the best look in there. And so far, we are in year 6. First 5 years, we've done over $600 million in volume, and we're probably going to do about $250 to $300 million this year. So that's where we're at. I'm going to talk about the offer in this video. Now, the goal here is to be able to make an offer so good that your ideal customer, ideal avatar, would feel stupid saying no. And it should also repel the people that are not your ideal avatar, our ideal agent on your team. That is what really makes a good offer. Now, let me try to back up a little bit and just explain what is an offer in the first place. Your offer is really what you offer to the agents that are on your team or in the marketplace. It's a big combination of your splits, what you pay for, what you don't, what you provide. I'm trying to say say the word offer, but it's just everything you bundle up together of what it looks like to work at your company. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the 6-step process that I follow to implement an offer into anything that I do, to be honest. So this is not, I did not make this up. This is stolen from Alex Hormozi's $100 million offers. Highly recommend you read the book. But here it is breaking down, and I'm going to give you a lot of context based on real estate sales team. So step number 1 is to choose your avatar. So where I think where most people go wrong is it's really impossible to do the rest of this if you don't do well on picking your avatar. If your avatar is all real estate agents, which I think this is where most brokerages try to be all things to all agents, and they end up being nothing to nobody. But choosing your avatar narrows down to like, who do you actually want to serve? This is both from what kind of a business do you want to own and run, and what from a financial standpoint, but also like what kind of people do you want to be around? And choosing your avatar means what type of agent is going to be a good fit for your team. So for example, for my company, the agent that's a good fit for our team is somebody, I always say there's 2 things: somebody that's willing to follow a proven process, and somebody that's actually willing to put in the work that's required to be successful. And we've narrowed that down over time. And the reality is we found that we can't hire part-time agents because of a million different reasons. And we can't hire somebody that wants to do their own thing. So we found all the things that do not work, but really what it boils down to is we are only a good fit for the agents who are willing to follow a proven process and actually willing to put in the work. So choosing who your avatar is, and maybe for your company, it's only super experienced agents that want really hands off, and your offer would have to make sense for that, right? Or maybe your ideal avatar is brand new agents. Maybe your ideal avatar is part-time agents. I don't know. Your business model is going to really depend upon this, but step number 1 is choosing your avatar. It's choosing who are you looking for and understanding that it's okay if you repel everybody else. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is based on that ideal avatar. What is their dream outcome? Meaning, what do they really want to accomplish by joining your company? And I struggled with this very early on with our company. Is I thought everybody was like me and wanted to make all the money in the world. And I very quickly realized that, most of these agents that are joining our team, they'd like to get to 100,000 and Some might want to get to the 300,000 mark. But nobody wanted to work 100 hours a week like I was. Nobody was willing to take the risks that I was. And something I had to constantly remind myself was like, they're not me. They're not out there risking. They're not risking going bankrupt to start and grow a team, because that's not what they want to do. And so defining what their dream outcome is incredibly helpful. Something like, let me give a blanket. No, I'll talk about our team. So I would say the dream outcome of our team is for an agent to be able to make $100,000 in take home income with zero risk, meaning they don't really have to spend any money. They don't really have to spend any money at all, and they make $100,000, net income to them, and zero financial risk whatsoever. They're pretty much guaranteed to make $100,000 every year, and then be able to increase that over time. That is the dream outcome for our company. And the dream outcome for different models is going to be different. For example, if you're running more of a traditional brokerage model, maybe you are running only super experienced agents that want to be left alone. They want a good comp plan and whatever. Like again, your different avatars and have a different dream outcome. Not every agent is the same. So that's number 2, is to define what your ideal avatar's dream outcome actually is. Step number 3 is to list all of the problems that person has. So this is, literally pen and paper, get this out. I would do this honestly as you're walking through this or right after it. But write down literally every single problem that an agent's going to face. So an agent, and again, I'm just going to use our company as an example here, so that hopefully this helps you do this for yours. So listing all of the problems that an agent our avatar is somebody who wants to follow a path of how to be successful, and they want to take home net $100,000 without risk. And yes, there's outliers in there, but that's the dream outcome for let's say 90% of the people. So listing all the problems. Well, number 1, they don't have a ton of money for marketing. They don't have a ton of sales experience oftentimes. They don't have, this is in general, but they don't have they need accountability to keep themselves on track. They don't have a reputation. Maybe they don't have a ton of case studies. They don't have a ton of proof that they know what they're doing. They haven't done a ton of deals in the past, or maybe they haven't done a ton of deals recently. All of these things are problems. So as you're writing, and write out all of them. The more you write down, the easier this is going to be for you. I'm not going to list a million of them just for time's sake, but I would list down all of the problems you could possibly have. I would ask your agent, if you have a team right now, I would ask your agents, what are the problems you face? This is a whole nother topic, but you should be surveying your agents at least once a year. We do this quarterly. It's always very interesting to see what the problems that they're facing. They might have a problem with motivation. They might have a problem with confidence. They might have a problem with, anything, right? Write down all of their problems. That's step number 3. Now, once you have a list of all their problems, and I would not move on until you have a list, until you've done these things first. Like, don't try to write a problem and then move to step number 4. Because step number 4 is now you're going to write out a solution for each one of the problems. So, for example, if the problem is the agent does not have money to market for lead generation, and the solution is we generate leads for them, that's a very cut and dry, clear problem solution. However, the same problem solution could be for your company, could be the problem is they don't have enough lead generation. The solution is you have a ton of open houses for them to host to generate leads. That would be a different solution for a company that maybe doesn't generate leads, but they have opportunities in other areas, right? So you want to write down all of the problems. So you chose your ideal avatar. Who exactly are you talking about? You have defined what their dream outcome is. You've listed all of the potential problems they have. Again, don't go one problem, one solution, one problem, one solution. Just write down all the problems. And then prescribe a solution for each individual one of those problems. Now, after you've done step number 4, that should take quite some time. And when you're writing these out, here is a big pro tip and something I did not do earlier. I was like, this is stupid. Why would I write down things I'm not going to consider? Is you're going to likely have problems that the solution that you would have to come up with to solve the problem is completely unreasonable. And that's totally fine. Write down any solution to the problem. Let me give maybe not even a wild example, but let me give an example. Is you might write down that your ideal avatar has a problem that they need money now because they don't have enough money to go full time, so they need like a salary now. And your solution might be you put them on payroll and pay them a draw every single month so that they can go full time, and then once they get to a certain income, they fall out of that or whatever. Or maybe just your comp plan has them on either W-2 or 1099 guaranteed money. I don't know. That'd be a solution. That'd be a really, really, really strong solution for that problem. And we are not right now. You're not saying I'm doing all these things. You're just saying what is a solution to solve that problem. Okay, so chose your ideal avatar, define their dream outcome. That's number 2. Number 3 is to list all of the problems that they face. And number 4 is to prescribe a solution for every single one of those problems. Now, step number 5 is where you're going to rank all of these different solutions. And you're going to rank them on 2 things. You're going to rank them on 1, value, and 2, cost. You're going to rank them in one of 3 different ways. You're going to do high, neutral, or low. No in between. High, neutral, low. Red, yellow, green. So when I say value and cost, you're going to say, okay, this is high value and low cost. This one, so for example, the leads solution. So for our company, a problem is agents don't have a marketing budget. They don't know how to generate leads. Solution, we generate lots of leads for them. So from a value cost perspective, this is very high value. So high value, but it's also high cost. So high value, high cost. What's another thing that is a problem is agents don't have they need accountability is a problem. The consistency is a huge problem for our avatar. So we say, okay, well, we have built-in accountability. This one here is really high value. So high value and low cost. There's no cost to having accountability, especially with the way that we do it, is very built in. So this solution is high value, low cost. Now you're going to rank every single one of the solutions and think of it both in does it cost dollars and or time, right? Because if it costs, like say for example, for accountability, if you had none of the built-in accountability that we have, and you had to hire a sales manager for $150,000 a year to keep your people motivated, if that's not your job, then that might be a really high cost. It depends on the size of your team, obviously. If you have 5 agents and you're paying somebody to keep them motivated, that's probably a really high cost solution to the problem. But for us, we have built-in accountability, which means that it's a high value to our agents, and it's a low cost to the company, low to no cost to the company. So you're going to rank every single one of your solutions with, is it valuable, high, mid, or high, neutral, low value, and then high, neutral, low cost as well too. Step number 6 is where this becomes a little bit difficult. Now I'll give you the easy low-hanging fruit, but this is where you're going to finalize your offer. You're going to finalize what are you actually going to make part of your offer. And this is also going to force you, I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, this is probably going to force you to actually put in writing what you offer to your agents. I would say 95% of the team leaders that I talk to do not have their offer written down anywhere. They do not, nowhere can you go and look and see what your company offers to the agents, which is a little crazy. So here's the easy low-hanging fruit is get rid of everything that is low value, high cost. If you are offering anything that is low value to the agents and high cost to the company, just get rid of it. I mean, that's number 1. That's the easiest thing in the world. Anything you wrote down that's low value, high cost, immediately get rid of. Especially if you're already running a company and you realize you have a few, and you probably do, low value, high cost, immediately cut those things. So we're going to finalize the offer. Now, while that's easy to cut, what you want to stack as much as possible of is high value, low cost. Like the built-in accountability for us is high value, low cost. Something else that's high value for us is our sales meetings. Our agents find our sales meetings very, very valuable, and those are high value, super low cost. There's no cost other than, I suppose, our time, but really low cost to do things like that. So your you're going to rank every single one of your solutions in the previous step, and now you're literally just cutting and finalizing. So you want to get rid of all the low value, high cost, and you want to stack as much high value, low cost as possible. Now, you're definitely not going to be able to do all high value, low cost. I really, really doubt it. There's going to be some things that are high value, high cost. Now, the question is, how much of those things can you actually offer? Now, this is going back to one of the first episodes we did on your financial model, which is, in my opinion, the number one most important thing that you choose, is because you cannot make your offer to your agents if you don't know what your financial model is. Because depending on the financial model that you choose, you are basically saying how much are you paying out. And the more you pay out, the less you can offer. So let's take this to the extreme. If you're running a 100% brokerage where you're collecting no money at all, you could offer nothing at all. That's the most extreme. Now, the second most extreme, but you run 100% brokerage and you charge $500 a file or $1,500 a file, and you make almost no money at all, you can offer very, very little. And this is where you see there are a lot of 100% brokerage models, and they don't offer anything special. It's because they don't have any money to do it. And there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but that is a business model. On the flip side of that, if you have really low split to the agent, you would have to offer a ton of value to the agent in order for them to choose to work there. And that is where you're balancing what you offer to your agents in your financial model. So you have to know what you're working with. You have to know what you're working with in terms of your financial model, so that you can stack as much high value as possible, because some of that's going to be high value, high cost, but you don't want to be running an unprofitable business. And this was the lesson number one, was high value, high cost is a double-edged sword. It's going to sound really, really sexy to join your company, but it is going to be really, really hard to run a profitable company if your financial model and your value stack doesn't line up. So earlier in my career, and we made these mistakes in 2021, and I paid for them all the way up until 2025, is we offered really high, a lot of really high value, high cost when we were a traditional 50-50 team, meaning our agents were all on 50% splits, regardless of where the lead came from. And in 2021, we switched to a teamerage model, and we kept all of the high value, high cost stuff that we offered. And that led for us to be an unprofitable model from that moment forward. And we had to make a lot of changes in the company to kind of reverse those things. That was lesson number one, is high value, high cost is a really double-edged sword, because pulling back things that are high value is hard. And your agents do not care what it costs. I promise you, I don't care what they say. They, at the end of the day, do not care at all. If you make money, they don't care the cost of anything. They just are looking at value for them, which is totally understandable, as they should. But that doesn't make it easy for you as a business owner. So taking away things that are high value is much harder than taking away things that are low value. So what I would highly recommend as you're going through this is to simplify. If you're going to have high value, high cost, pick the one that's going to make the biggest impact. Maybe two. It depends on your model. I'm going to give you very hard and fast rules, but you want to be very, very selective on the high value, high cost things you offer. The number one thing that we offer to our agents based on their feedback, where while somebody from the outside would look at our team as a leads team, agents only join Onyx Homes because of leads. While that might be a large reason why people are interested in our team, when we survey our agents, which we do every quarter, we just looked over survey results, and leads are the fourth mentioned thing, meaning fourth most common or fourth most mentioned thing that people enjoy about our company. Support, leadership, culture. Support, training, culture, leads is in order of the things that are based on what our agents tell us why they came and stay at a part of our company, which is wild, because a lot of team leaders from the outside look at us and like, yeah, you guys have Zillow leads, you have Realtor.com leads, you guys spend tens of thousands of dollars on your own advertising, you make a lot of content. Like that's why people join your team is just for the leads. No, it's actually not. And that part's really, really interesting is the things that are high value, low cost are a lot of the reasons why our agents like our team so much. High value, low cost. I think I misspoke. So a lot of the things that our agents like the most are high value, low cost. The one big high value, high cost is lead generation, which is absolutely important in my opinion, especially for our business model. But the other high value, high cost thing we have is a lot of support. We have in-house TC. It's W-2 on payroll, and it's not a virtual assistant. They have a virtual assistant, but it is a real, very, very good transaction coordinator. We have marketing manager in-house in office. They do most of the marketing for our entire team. We have an office administrator that helps with any miscellaneous. We have myself, and we're hiring a sales manager soon. So there's a ton of hands-on support from support staff, and that is very high value. That's very high cost as well too. Payroll is the most expensive line item anybody has. So that was lesson number one, is simplify. And I would do that from the beginning and not have to go back and do that over time. Lesson number two is do not make decisions based on one or two people, especially if you have a small team. Make decisions that make sense for the business. I was listening to a podcast, not in the real estate space at all, but it was these business owners did let's just say $5 to $10 million a year in revenue. So they run good sized companies. These are content creators, and they're selling info products and all that fun stuff. So it's not a real estate company, but they were talking about running EOS, which is something that we run. We swear by it. If you're not running EOS in your business, I highly, highly, highly recommend you do. A whole nother episode on that. But the lesson was they were talking about core values, and they're talking about the mission statement and core values. And one of the business owners was saying that they did their team sat down and collectively decided core values. And the other person was like, oh, yeah, we tried that too. And then we didn't. And what happened was the business owner that did their core values based on committee, nobody that was at the company now actually was involved in the core value process, except for the founder. And the founder didn't love the core values that they finalized. They were just trying to appease the entire team. So now you have other people who are not a part of the company anymore that have say in how the company runs, which is crazy. And I share that story because that happened. I felt that was happening with our team as well too. And again, the agents don't care if your company makes any money. I promise. They might say they do, but they don't. So do not make decisions based off one or two people, especially if you do have a really small team. Make decisions that are for the better of the entire company, that are the better for everybody. Because if you're making decisions based on one or two people, even if they are a large percentage of the revenue, if they're not aligned with the vision of the company, that's a problem in and of itself. And this is why we talk about recruiting so much in earlier episodes. But I did this early in my career. We literally changed our entire financial model because of not even a handful, one or two agents. And it caused the next 2 years were the most painful years of my life. And it was because of a decision that it shouldn't have been made in the first place. And it was something based on a feel, not anywhere near based on the actual health and growth of the company. And it's not all about making money either in the first place. Come to find out, one of the agents that I'm referring to was actually, after they got everything they asked for, they wanted to go back the way that it was. And so it's great. So anyway, that's lesson number 2, is do not make decisions based on just one or two people. Lesson number 3 is ask your agents what they think. And just because you think something is going to be valuable does not mean they will. So ask a few agents what they feel, what they think. And I'll give you something tactical on how to do this, but I also want to give a story because you want to make sure you get relevant information. So I'll share a story, then I'll give you the tactical. So the story is we have used several different back-end website providers in the last 5 years of running our company. We were on Ylopo for 3 years, and for the last 2 years, we've been on Sierra Interactive. And I go back and forth on, which one's better and blah, 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 whatever. But I went through and I asked every single agent that was on our team when we had Ylopo and asked, hey, do you like Ylopo or Sierra better? And I was making a decision if I was to change websites or not. I won't give you exactly what. Well, I will. At least for the timestamp of this being February of 2025. Every single one of the agents that I asked said they liked Sierra better than they liked Ylopo. And if I would have just made that change because I thought Ylopo is I thought they found Ylopo more valuable, I would have upset every single person. So I asked them which one did they prefer, and do all of them happen to prefer Sierra better because that's what we currently have and they don't want to switch? Maybe. Not really too sure, but I'm glad I asked at the end of the day, and I got good feedback from it. So here's a tactical how to survey your agents to find this out. This is on like your existing offer. Survey your agents asking what is the number one thing that they could not live without, and find out what that is. And you don't necessarily want to keep all of those things, especially if you have a large team, like you're likely to hear a lot of different things. However, the thing you hear the most is the most important. And you want to segment your agents as well by like who actually produces. So I would remove like the agents that don't produce anything at all. I would just like not serve them or completely discount their, as terrible as that sounds, completely discount what they say. Only producing agents I would suggest to survey, and ask what is the number one thing they cannot live without, and that's your most important thing. That should also be in like all of your recruiting and advertising. Then the things that nobody says are valuable, remove them and do not say anything about it. And if nobody complains, which we've done this multiple times, where we have removed something that we pay money for or we spend time on, we spend whatever, and we remove it and nobody says anything, which means absolutely nobody cared about it. And maybe 6 months later, somebody's like, hey, we still have that thing? And we say, no, we got rid of that because like, obviously nobody cared about it. They're like, oh, I really like that. I was like, well, we haven't had it for 6 months. So they're like, oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I was using it more often than that. And that happens often. Now, you don't want to do that with anything big. Like if you have a website and you're like, I think we don't need our website anymore, and you get rid of the website, that's probably going to cause some problems. But if there's things that nobody says, so the tactical thing is go out and ask your agents what is the number one thing they cannot live without. And then you can also ask, if you want to, what is something you do not value? Now, you're going to get a lot of nonsense. I don't value the splits. I don't value the, like, it's just, I've very rarely got helpful information from what do you not value, but it's more of what is the number one thing you value the most. So let's go back to the beginning and talk about why the offer is so important. The offer is so important because it is something every single person is going to hear. Every single agent that's in the marketplace is going to hear about your offer if you're advertising enough. At least everybody that looks at your company is going to look at the offer as the number one thing that helps them decide whether or not they join you or not. If you are banking on your sales skills of convincing somebody to join your company because you're so wonderful, that is a recipe to burn out. Burnout's nonsense. It's a recipe for you not to have a sustainable business because you are only going to be able to talk to so many people. And if you really do want to grow a big business, which I imagine if you're watching this, you probably do, then you're not going to be able to sell everybody on joining your team. And by you creating an offer that makes your ideal avatar feel stupid saying no to joining your team, it just makes your life a lot easier. For example, in our recruiting process, I'm not selling anybody on joining our company. If anybody watches any of our content leading up to joining our team, we are filtering people out, not convincing people to join our company. However, we're filtering people out that are the wrong fit for the team. so that all of our messaging is like, gosh, if I am an agent that wants to follow a proven process, that wants built-in accountability and wants to have 5-star service and wants to be held to a really high standard, if I'm that agent, I'm like, gosh, this place sounds great to work. And they pay for for most of everything. I don't have to spend any money. They have lots of support. They offer tons of leads. They have a proven sales process. They have beautiful branding. If that person looks at our company, they're going to say, gosh, this is really what I'm looking for. And this is different than everybody else in the marketplace. And it's like, that's the point. We want that person to say, hey, Onyx Homes is the best place to work for me. And that's what we're trying to do. We want to be the best place to work for that particular person. And if an agent comes in and says, I want high splits, I want to be left alone, I want to do whatever I want, it's just not a good fit. Not even a good fit. It's nowhere near a fit for our team. And we are okay with agents with not getting or losing agents that are like that. If you want to be totally left alone and do your own business, like, cool, there's 6,000 brokerages that you could join that all have that same offer. And this is obviously where I'm biased with our business model, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm okay losing out on those, those top 1% agents are never going to join my team, and like, that's fine. That's not our business model. If I wanted to go after that business model, I would have done that, and I chose not to. So your offer is the second most important thing, I believe, to your financial model. So you absolutely have to have your financial model chosen, and then the very next thing, building your foundation, is your offer. And then from there, you can't build recruiting if you don't know what you offer. I mean, you can, but if you're building blocks, like if you were to start from ground zero, day one, choose your financial model. Day two, or day 1.5, create your offer. And this might be a weekend. Like, honestly, for me, I sat down with a weekend with a book of paper. I probably still have it in my closet over here. And I wrote down all of the like, who exactly do we want to attract? Where do we feel like and let me talk about that a little bit more. I guess I can make this more in depth. If you're still watching this, like and subscribe and do all the things and share it. But let me go more tactical on this. We chose I'll share what we did, and maybe this will help you. We chose our avatar based on where we saw the biggest opportunity in the market. We did not choose to go the traditional brokerage route and attract, the top, let's say 5% of agents that want to be left alone and compete. Because I didn't want to compete with Compass. I didn't want to compete with Sotheby's. I didn't want to compete with Coldwell Banker. I didn't want to compete with these big corporate companies that don't need to make money at all. And honestly, like, again, I feel firmly that the traditional real estate brokerage model is broken for 95% of agents. So I made our business model and our avatar if you take out the part-time agents, for the 80% of agents that don't want to spend money. They want to follow a proven process. They want to be like, they don't want to make $800,000 a year. Like, maybe that sounds great, but like, they want to put in the work to make 100, 200, but they don't want to deal with creating systems and having a $5,000 or a $25,000 a month tech fee. They don't want to have $25,000 a month in ad spend. They don't want to have they don't want to deal with that. So they join a team that has all of the benefits of a traditional 50-50 team with most of the benefits of a traditional brokerage as well too. And they can jumpstart their career with lead generation. They can focus only on sales because the team takes care of the rest. I feel very strongly that our business model caters for the 80% of agents in the marketplace. And that's what we're going for. And I'm totally fine with missing the other 20% of agents that are full-time that don't fit that. And I don't have any problem. There's a lot of agents out there, and you can build a really, really big business, and it doesn't have to be all things to everybody. And I think the best, I've learned a lot from watching the brokerage that we're at, First Team Real Estate, that they're only in Southern California. And like, literally just in the last 5 years have started, not even 5 years, 2 to 3 years, have started to expand out of Orange County. For 40 some odd years, they're only in Orange County. And this is like a top 20, like, let's just say top 30 brokerage in the entire country that operates in one county. Like, let's say 3 counties. Orange County, LA County, like San Bernardino, Riverside, and San Diego County. So Southern California, and the top 30 brokerage in the country, and do $100 million in revenue. And that's wild. Like, you don't need to be Compass, you don't need to be Sotheby's, you don't need to be these big corporate, massive companies. So even as a real estate, like, and that's just in this geographic area. So as a real estate sales team, we can be just in Orange County and get to $5-10 million in revenue. And well, for sure 5. I mean, shoot, we're going to do 6 this year. We can get to $10-20 million in revenue in just one county. And I think we could probably do more than that. And realizing how much opportunities out there in the marketplace for your business model. And that's where choosing your ideal avatar is really important. So tactically, this is how I thought through it. It was, where did I see the biggest opportunity in the marketplace? Now, I say that with the lens of, I want to build a big business. If I was trying to get to $1 million a year in profit, this is not the business model that I would have chose. Very transparently, I don't know where this came from, but I have a goal to get to $1 million a month in profit. And I don't think I would have been able to do that realistically with a traditional team. And to build a bigger business than that even, definitely not. So that tactically for us and for me and for our vision, that seemed to make the most sense. So your avatar is really important in the same conversation as your strategy is important in your financial model. So from there, the rest of it almost falls into place. So once you have your ideal avatar, figuring out what is their dream outcome is not super complicated. And then from there, it's like, what are their problems? Just Google, what a real estate agent, like, what is your average real estate agent, or what is a top 5% real estate, what are their problems? Have conversations, ask people, ask agents on your team. And then the solutions, like, get creative. Some of them are going to need to be ridiculous. Some of them are going to be like, I don't know, if your ideal avatar is a top 1% agent, and the solution is, or the pain point is like, moving to a new brokerage is a huge pain in the butt. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure Compass sat down in the boardroom and said, well, the solution to that problem is like, let's pay them $1 million and they'll move. And like, that worked. So you can be creative with your solutions. It doesn't mean you actually have to do them. And there's other ways you can have multiple solutions to one problem as well too, and then choose the one that makes the most sense based on value cost. And it's not always the highest value. Sometimes maybe it's a little bit less valuable, but the cost is 1/10, might be a better decision. So, and then it's just value stacking as much value as you can for as little cost as possible, and knowing the big moves to do high value, high cost, and don't overextend that. You can always add more value later. It's really hard to take away high value stuff. So if you want a closer look at me growing our company here, Onyx Homes, or us growing our company, Onyx Homes, the absolute best place to do that is onyxhomes.com/school. It's free community. You have a sales masterclass, and we talked a lot about the financial model, which I unlocked for free in the free community. The team building masterclass, the first couple of sections are unlocked for you because of how important I feel like the financial model is. So inside of there, you can go check it out. Also, if you like this, like, subscribe, do all the things. I make this content because I learned a lot early in my career from people ahead of me, and I honestly wish that I could have learned more so that I didn't have to go through these really painful lessons myself. I wish I could have learned from somebody else. So that is another episode down in the story of me building Onyx Homes from start to finish, and I'll see you in the next episode.